One day, all of the records of mankind will disappear. During the chaos, a savior appears. An unknown system called Zeus appears and creates the VR game Olympus. You can bring the items from the game into reality, and the game maintains modern civilization. However, the boundary between the game and reality soon breaks. Reality did blossom into a brilliant civilization, but it created a social class system that depends on your game rankings and wealth. It became a world where the poor struggled to be rich. Han Ju-hyuk claims to be one of those dirt-poor people. 20 years ago, Ju-hyuk went to school as a child in Olympus. A weird old man suddenly kidnaps him, claiming that he found the talented one. It was an NPC and the embodiment of strength. Ju-hyuk was forced to train in a hellish way. 10 years pass by and Ju-hyuk hears about the level 89 top ranker. The old man claims someone below level 99 is not a ranker. The old man claims Ju-hyuk should trust him because there are some things that cannot be revealed. He claims he will make Ju-hyuk the strongest. However, Ju-hyuk doesn't have money or items. The old man claims that level and stats are everything. Many winters and springs have passed and the old man claims he doesn't have anything to teach the 26-year-old Ju-hyuk anymore. Ju-hyuk, the old man, dies fast. He is still jobless in reality and all he did was go through hellish training for 20 years. Ju-hyuk tries to act like a filial son to the old man and expects a quest from the NPC. Claiming that Ju-hyuk is his successor, the old man gives him a map. Ju-hyuk thanks his master with all his heart and bows down. The old man laughs, saying that the world will soon kneel in front of Ju-hyuk. When Ju-hyuk stood up, the old man had already died. Feeling relieved that 20 years of hell are over, Ju-hyuk checks his status window. His stats are all maxed out except for luck. Ju-hyuk tries to leave the place where he has been secluded for 20 years, but the system announces an error. It detected Ju-hyuk's abnormal leveling method. Zeus resets his level. Ju-hyuk can only cry as his level reaches 0. Disheartened, Ju-hyuk checks his status again. He is surprised to see that his stats are still the same. Despite having restrictions, Ju-hyuk can easily level up with these stats. Feeling hopeful, Ju-hyuk leaves for the starting village of beginners. This is now the true beginning of his life. Ju-hyuk arrives at Urkus. He is happy to be back after 20 long years. He immediately heads out to the hunting grounds, but a guard stops him for being low-leveled. The guard doubts that Ju-hyuk can kill a fanged rabbit. Ju-hyuk ignores the guard and moves forward. Ju-hyuk suddenly gets a quest to relieve the guard's anxiety towards him. The guard notices Ju-hyuk waving at him. He panics as he sees the fanged rabbit attack Ju-hyuk. Ju-hyuk notices it and defeats the monster in one hit. He continues killing more rabbits that are attacking him. The guard is speechless. He is surprised to see a strong level 1 player. Just then, a wild boar appears and charges at them. Ju-hyuk tells the guard not to worry and kills the boar in one punch. Ju-hyuk levels up and completes the quest. He is surprised to get tons of gold right away. He notices that he can't invest in his stats anymore because they are already maxed out. At least his stats are the same as those of a level 99 player, so Ju-hyuk won't have any problems at all. Ju-hyuk thinks things will be smooth sailing for him. However, he gets marked as a murderer. Ju-hyuk got mistaken for a wanted person and NPCs keep trying to kill him. He reflexively countered a surprise attack and killed an NPC. He ends up getting a chaotic penalty. Soon after, players also started going for him. You can become a hero if you kill a chaotic user. Ju-hyuk gets cornered and he doesn't have a choice but to fight back in order to live. At least he gets to level up thanks to them. Weeks later, Ju-hyuk fully accepted his situation and planned to hide for a year. He stops pursuing his goal of becoming a hero and lives as a bad guy instead. He wonders if this scenario was created by Zeus for him. Just when he had a lot of questions in mind, Ju-hyuk meets a group of people bowing to him. They call him the successor of the absolute ruler. Ju-hyuk gets an SS rank quest. In the long history of Olympus, only 3 SSS ranked quests have been recorded. It is a scenario at the national level. Ju-hyuk realizes that he has gotten himself caught in a bigger story than Zeus had prepared for him. Ju-hyuk gets to read a long story related to the quest. He finds out that his master is actually a descendant of Shaltera, a person feared by heroes. He also discovers that there is a huge penalty if he doesn't get recognized as the absolute ruler. He gets the benefit of commanding the Sky Devil Elders. He asks the people in front of him if they are the elders. Taking the mantle of his master, he asks them to lead the way. Ju-hyuk soon finds out that the experience gained by elders will be transferred to him. He then tells Luxo, the first elder, that he currently has restrictions and can't use the skills learned from the master. The elders knew about it, but Ju-hyuk promised to lead them all the way. He got more loyalty than expected. Back to reality, Sia, Ju-hyuk's sister, tells him about the recent serial killer, Gitrak. Ju-hyuk hopes she's not talking about him. Sia describes Gitrak with dual-wield pistols and around level 40. Ju-hyuk is shocked that the guild will only give her a small share when they catch Gitrak. Sia wonders why Ju-hyuk has looked tired lately. It is because of his negative luck. Ju-hyuk logs back into Olympus. Gitrak suddenly appears, mad that Ju-hyuk is impersonating him. Ju-hyuk is worried about the gap in equipment, but he won't fight alone. He calls Luxo and orders him to kill Getrak. Getrak confidently pulls up his pistols. Luxo disappears from his sight, and his point of view starts to shift sideways. Getrak gets easily beheaded in one strike. Ju-hyuk is surprised as he didn't see anything at all. Luxo presents Getrak's head, and Ju-hyuk gets a level up and a head worth 100 million gold. Ju-hyuk tries to abuse the system and orders the elders to wipe out everything in the place for him. He plans to continue acting as the monarch. Ju-hyuk continues leveling up while the elders gain experience for him. He plans to start a business with his current setup and scenario. He then wonders what to do with Getrak's head. He searches for places to sell items and discovers that it is better to do it in-game. Sia barges into his room. Ju-hyuk wonders what Sia will do if he hands him Getrak's head. Sia takes it as a joke. Ju-hyuk seriously asks her to do a 50-50 split in profits. Sia tells her to stop joking because Getrak is high-leveled. Ju-hyuk reminds her that he is level 99, but Sia doesn't believe him. He then tells her to meet up with him in-game in the Lapina Mountains. Sia wonders why they met there, and Ju-hyuk confesses that he is chaotic. Sia later goes to the Lapina Mountains, where strong monsters are supposed to dwell. However, she hasn't encountered anything at all. Ju-hyuk did mention that he would clear the monsters for her. Ju-hyuk surprises Sia, who screams at his ears point blank. She gets shocked when she sees her brother's chaotic energy. He then hands Getrak's head over. Sia suddenly becomes docile, thinking about the reward. Ju-hyuk tells her to hurry and get the reward. Sia did receive the reward after the head's confirmation. Sia remembers how Ju-hyuk worked hard for the past few years. She later gives 99 million to Ju-hyuk, while she only got 1 million as pocket money. She immediately leaves in a hurry. The SSS-ranked quest hasn't started yet, but Ju-hyuk is already rich. He plans to invest in something. That night, he asks Sia to buy items for him. Sia went over time and got the items for her brother. The items can help Ju-hyuk gain experience. Sia asks for expensive warp points, and Ju-hyuk despairs over losing his money. He then brings the elders with him to the Zeph Mountains. Another player sees him and discovers that Ju-hyuk is max chaotic. Seeing that Ju-hyuk looks like a beginner, the party of players prepares for battle. Ju-hyuk notices that he is being restricted, but it doesn't affect him. The players try to surprise him, and Ju-hyuk warns them. The leader's attack bounces off, and another player follows. Ju-hyuk can only feel tickles. He then starts to fight back with bare hands and kills the party's leader. He also easily kills the tank in one punch. The others receive messages from those who just died to run away. They try to run away, but Ju-hyuk quickly catches them. Another misunderstanding arises, and Ju-hyuk gets mistaken for Rupendal, the player hunter. Ju-hyuk finishes everything as he levels up and the elder's loyalty increases. He suddenly gains the charismatic trait. Luxo suddenly appears and asks Ju-hyuk to follow him. They've been traveling for a week already, and Ju-hyuk is already tired of walking. They arrive at a rundown village that is supposed to be a Sky Devil hideout. Ju-hyuk knows that his master caused them trouble. He is given a quest to rebuild the village. The elder appears and tells Ju-hyuk that they have been waiting for him all this time. The village's surroundings don't have monsters to hunt, and people are starving. Feeling bad for the state of the village, he announces to everyone outside that he will help them. Ju-hyuk just wants their loyalty though. He then heads out with Luxo to hunt monsters. A week has passed, and Luxo feels proud that Ju-hyuk has prepared things already. Days ago, Ju-hyuk asked Sia to buy magic pockets and massive servings of porridge for him. Sia complies, and Ju-hyuk gives her a blue stone to sell. He also asks her to buy a warping stone so his travels will be quicker. Everything is perfect except that the stones are deadly expensive. Meanwhile, Erda, the 12th elder, is full of doubts about Ju-hyuk. He will follow Luxo, but the other elders might not think the same. Just then, Ju-hyuk and Luxo come back. Ju-hyuk appears with tons of food. Everyone cheers as their loyalty toward Ju-hyuk increases. Ju-hyuk leaves the provisioning to Luxo and another elder. Ju-hyuk later gets approached by Erda, who apologizes for his lack of faith. Ju-hyuk gets his recognition, and he thinks up something with a menacing smile. Ju-hyuk tells Erda that he's thankful for his faith and will repay Erda's faith someday. Erda now fully recognizes him, and Ju-hyuk is really suited to his chaotic role. Erda's stealth skills will be useful for Ju-hyuk. Ju-hyuk and Erda encounter a giant bear in the Lepnia Mountains. Ju-hyuk takes action by himself and kills the bear with one punch. Ju-hyuk is not sure if the bear is weak or if he is just strong. The two continue their travel and reach the Amantium Dungeon. The dungeon is meant for beginners and is swarming with academy students and instructors. Ju-hyuk wonders how strong the instructors are. He heads in and tells Erda to use his stealth. Students casually walk in the dungeon until they notice Ju-hyuk's chaotic presence. They panic and call over an instructor. Ju-hyuk later finds out that his bad luck affects the drop rates. An instructor confronts Ju-hyuk. Seeing that Ju-hyuk is low-leveled, the instructor finds this as a chance to become a hero. He tries to mock Ju-hyuk. but Juhyuk tells him to go on with their class. The two continue to banter while the safe zone is being removed. The safe zone gets lifted and the instructor charges toward Juhyuk. However, Juhyuk casually receives the attack. The instructor asks for backing up. Juhyuk warns him again and casually throws a powerful punch. The instructor dies and Juhyuk threatens the students. Juhyuk casually leaves and arrives at the center of the dungeon. He charges through the skeletons and breaks the defense fortress with one punch. Shouldn't we call him the one-punch man at this rate? He leaves to clear the dungeon further. More instructors arrive and are shocked to see the defense fortress destroyed. The system announces that the dungeon has been cleared, surprising the instructors. A while ago, Juhyuk casually received the skeleton's attacks while staring at the dungeon core. He hopes the shield is strong enough to receive a lot of blows, but it shatters with only one punch. He remembers instructors standing behind him as Juhyuk destroys the dungeon with a punch again. With his step-up points, he finally reaches level 20. He notices that the instructors are at the entrance, and he meets them. An instructor warns him and asks him not to kill the students. Juhyuk claims that he doesn't want to fight from the start. The instructors watch him leave. The lead instructor is glad that no fight has ensued. He is sure that Juhyuk is an agent of chaos and might be Rupendal himself. Meanwhile, the real Rupendal is having the time of his life, killing other players. He also heard about the person impersonating him. He plans to capture the impersonator before things get troublesome. Back in the Sky Devil village, Juhyuk asks for someone with a long-range attack. An elder named Zeta energetically offers his assistance. Juhyuk later orders Zeta to wipe out the players that are going to attack them. The energetic Zeta moves forward and summons the advent of the Yule God. The summon easily wipes out the players. Juhyuk's killer's mark grows darker. Surprisingly, he becomes more notorious and achieves a bloodlust trait. The bloodlust trait weakens the offense and defense of enemies in PvP. All sorts of penalties are given. However, for Juhyuk, this boosts the loyalty of the Sky Devils. Zeta clears up the players and now monsters are approaching. Juhyuk asks Zeta for support. Juhyuk jumps in and, surprisingly, kills a monster with one punch again. The two continue killing the monsters while a party of players watches them. Zeta lets out a special attack, and Juhyuk finds it overbearing. As they gather bluestones, boss monsters spawn in the area. The Black Cow King appears. Juhyuk asks Zeta to take care of the little fries while he deals with the boss. Zeta points out that more trouble is coming and that players are starting to appear. The two ran off to avoid trouble today. Back to reality, Juhyuk can't find any info about the Black Cow King. His negative luck might have played a part in its appearance. As he scrolls through the forum, he finds weird happenings lately inside the game and realizes he might be at fault. He also finds out the Black Cow King got killed and dropped bundles of bluestones. He gets stressed ignoring such treasure. He's only got a few million left. He plans to level up faster to gain more money. Meanwhile, Director Yu Kaiyan receives a report about the Black Cow King. He gives out orders to hunt Juhyuk, who has been messing with their members. 3 weeks later, Juhyuk reaches level 29. Luxo worries that Juhyuk is overworking lately. Juhyuk shows his overbearing charisma and claims that he needs to get stronger to make everyone kneel in front of the Sky Devils. Luxo is deeply moved. However, Juhyuk is only working hard to get an apartment and a car. Just then, he gets a message from Sia, who informs him that there is a world quest involving the 7 constellations. The quest asks the 7 constellations to gather to defeat the absolute evil. 7 hidden classes are going to be released soon. Juhyuk wonders if it will be related to him. Sia wonders if Juhyuk will take part in it. He can't join because he is an agent of chaos. He knows he will be hunted, so he needs to get stronger. He gets back to Olympus and tells the elders that he will leave for a solo expedition. He leaves the village for the elders to take care of. He still needs to improve the living conditions in the village. He needs to level up faster to be able to use the Paction Inner Key skill and follow his master's marked map. For now, he relieves his stress by killing monsters. He gains a skill called Weirdly Strong Fist. Checking on the description, he celebrates that he won't end a fight with one punch now. Just then, Rupendal appears and blames Juhyuk for the troubles our protagonist has caused him. However, Juhyuk doesn't know him and calls him funny. Rupendal snaps at Juhyuk and gets mad for being impersonated. Rupendal keeps complaining while Juhyuk is dumbfounded. Juhyuk asks for a match and Rupendal angrily attacks him. Juhyuk is disappointed that the infamous Death Nail only decreases his HP by 3%. To have fun, Juhyuk activates his newly gained skill. He blinks and punches Rupendal, but the punch only broke Rupendal's defensive barrier. Assuming that Juhyuk's skill is on cooldown, Rupendal attacks him. Just then, Juhyuk buries his fist in Rupendal's face. All of Rupendal's barriers get broken easily. Rupendal gets pissed off and activates his sure-killing skill, Heart Attack. Juhyuk gets excited and turns off his skills. Rupendal sees that Juhyuk doesn't have his skill anymore and attacks him. The two clash with their attacks. Rupendal can't believe Juhyuk didn't die. Ju-hyuk looks disappointedly at Rupendal's corpse. He comments on how weak Rupendal is despite being highly leveled. Both find it weird that Rupendal didn't drop any items. Ju-hyuk discovers that he broke everything. He ignores it and leaves. Rupendal swears to make Ju-hyuk pay for this humiliation. Just then, Rupendal's soul gets restricted. A person appears and laughs at how he comes across a high-quality corpse. Rupendal becomes enslaved and restricted by the strange person. Rupendal thinks the person is a necromancer, hidden class. Rupendal then suggests getting Ju-hyuk too with his help. Back to reality, Ju-hyuk and Sia celebrate at McDonald's with Sia's favorite burgers. Sia wonders if there is a catch and Ju-hyuk suddenly gets serious. He states that he is having a hard time getting drops. So he asks Sia to create a startup with him. Sia calls him crazy. She worries about the stagnating market and her upcoming promotion in the union. She tries to hear out her brother first. Meanwhile, Yuk-hyeon hears that Ju-hyuk won't harm them as long as they don't bother him. They also record a fight between Ju-hyuk and Rupendal. They assume that Ju-hyuk has a martial arts-related hidden class. Yuk-hyeon also reports that they receive a rare quest to capture someone called Ramtadian. They wonder if Ramtadian and Ju-hyuk are the same person. Yuk-hyeon asks the leader for 30 men to participate in hunting the Chaos-aligned agent. The leader also agrees to the huge amount of funding. The bounty is huge and they can get a huge share. The leader doesn't care who dies as long as he gets the money. Ju-hyuk and Sia meet in-game. Sia brought spell books and worries that his brother will reset his character. However, for Ju-hyuk, he can learn them because he is still jobless. He doesn't want to stay as the Korean Saitama. Sia freaks out knowing her brother is jobless, and she even quits her job to join him. Ju-hyuk thanks her because they are making history. Ju-hyuk tests his healing spell on Sia, and her little sister can't believe how effective it is. Ju-hyuk gives Sia buffs and tells her to fight the giant bear, which usually needs a full party to kill it. Sia kills it in a few minutes and she finds it insane. They also buy bluestone that they can sell for full price because they are unaffiliated. They then move out to gain levels. In the dark wilderness, Ju-hyuk casually aggroes a horde of monsters like Sia, who is casting a spell. Sia lets out the massive spell, which kills the monster horde. More bluestones drop and Sia can feel the money coming in. However, players are still attacking Ju-hyuk. Ju-hyuk can only fight back and must not attack first. A raid team arrives and they challenge them to a PvP. Ju-hyuk laughs at them for bringing a lot of people to kill one person. The director orders the others to start attacking. Ju-hyuk sighs as he is restrained. Ju-hyuk easily gets out and casts Fireball. Seeing a common magic, the raid team confidently put up a defense. They even stack all sorts of barrier combos. The simple Fireball hits them and they all explode. The director can't believe that his men got wiped out so easily. He trembles at seeing a common spell obliterate them. The siblings are also surprised at how powerful the Fireball is. Sia is now scared of his brother, who is not normal anymore. Ju-hyuk still waits for the cooldown to end. The director asks for more tanks that can withstand magic. He thinks Ju-hyuk is still restrained because he is just standing in one place. The director then orders archers to attack Ju-hyuk. Ju-hyuk just smiles as more arrows are fired toward him. Just when the director thought that they won, Ju-hyuk jumps on them. He uses a fireball at point-blank range and starts beating them up while reminding them not to bother him. Everyone gets flustered until the union leader arrives. A lot of reinforcements arrive just to capture Ju-hyuk. Meanwhile, Ju-hyuk finds them weaker than Rupendal. Sia worries as the fight ensues. Ju-hyuk tells her to attack him too so she won't be suspected as his accomplice. Sia casts her powerful lightning magic and Ju-hyuk is proud of his sister as he receives the attack. Sia hears a system notification about a special job change quest. Just then, Ju-hyuk's killer grade increases and he gains a new killer title. The new title lets him gain a lot of stats during PvP and player killing. As his sins deepen, the Sky Devil's loyalty also increases. Everyone is confused about whether Ju-hyuk is a fighter or mage. He claims he didn't change classes and everyone finds it ridiculous. The leader thinks he is a hidden class with certain weaknesses. He and the director charge at Ju-hyuk, but Ju-hyuk easily murders them. Sia tells Ju-hyuk that she might have a special job change. The siblings enter a dungeon and Sia starts attacking Ju-hyuk. Ju-hyuk can feel the attack like a prick. Sia continues firing off more magic spells. Sia gets more notification for attacking a sin-bearing target. She gets tired after an hour, and she finds out about her brother's title. Ju-hyuk confirms and notices monsters. He starts killing them off and Sia can see records of Ju-hyuk's movements and actions. Sia tells him to go further, and as soon as the system notifies her that the killer of thousands ran away, Sia gains a new job. The scenario gets updated and Sia becomes the 7th constellation. Meanwhile, the union conducts an offline meeting. The leader is plotting something again. He needs to work with the directors to kill Ju-hyuk. He logs in and goes to a tavern. He asks the bartender for someone to assassinate. He pours a lot of money into hiring Salmak. one of the top assassination groups. He leaves the safe zone and gets beheaded. As a soul, he discovers that it was the Abyss troop that killed him. The assassin announces that this is the start of the leader's indefinite life sentence. A man who expected the leader to be dead moves out. He did expect the absolute being to come, and now is the time for him to see if Ju-hyuk is worthy. The head of the Salmak group is the second elder Johan. Ju-hyuk, on the other hand, is surprised by Sia's experience gains after she changed jobs as a pure white magician. Sia thanks her brother for getting her a hidden class. They decided to talk in whispers so others wouldn't find them suspicious. Simply hitting Ju-hyuk made Sia a platinum rank hero. Ju-hyuk tells her to be careful when hitting him. However, the sister is excited to kill her brother instead. She expects some sort of killing reward. Sia promises to share the reward. Ju-hyuk agrees, but it must be in a situation where he needs to die. Days later, the siblings clear a dungeon together. Ju-hyuk just needs a few more monsters to kill to reach level 40. Sia leaves to restock on potions and items. Right after Sia left, Johan creeps behind Ju-hyuk, while stating that he appeared to check if Ju-hyuk is worthy of being the absolute being. And SSS rank quest triggers at the same time. Ju-hyuk must hold off Johan's attack and gain his recognition. He finds the situation ridiculous. Seeing that Sia became a constellation, Ju-hyuk can also become the absolute being to balance the game's main scenario. Ju-hyuk then tells Johan that it is unnecessary to check his worthiness because he is currently weak due to some restrictions. He tells Johan not to be impatient or he will regret it later. Johan is speechless. Ju-hyuk then claims that he will soon learn Sky Destroyer, which his master taught him. Johan is shocked. Ju-hyuk asks for a small amount of time and Johan agrees to it as he fades away. Ju-hyuk leaves the dungeon, but there are no monsters around. He's got 30 seconds left and Sia connects with him. He tells her to stay away, but Ju-hyuk sees her pulling in a monster horde. She asks for help, and Ju-hyuk commends his little sister. Ju-hyuk flashes by and slays the monsters until he levels up to 40. Johan creeps in, and Ju-hyuk activates Sky Destroyer. His abilities are enhanced, and his governance over the Sky Devils increases. Conditions are met, and Ju-hyuk becomes the absolute being. He now holds the power to corrupt the world and disrupt order. All of his stats and cooldowns improve greatly. Johan immediately bows down to him. Ju-hyuk acts benevolently as he gains Johan's recognition. Sia suddenly whispers in panic that the absolute evil has been born and the community is going crazy with the notification. She suggests hunting it, but it is her brother she is talking about. Sia is surprised that Ju-hyuk surprised the cap value of stats and went over 100. Sia is shocked enough to make her log out to attend a meeting. Just as Johan starts to discuss Salmak, a raiding team appears to kill Ramtadian. Ju-hyuk is pissed off at being called a Ramtadian. The raiding team attacks him, but Ju-hyuk doesn't take a minute to kill them. He attacks the raid commander and he gets impressed that his punch got blocked. However, Ju-hyuk finishes him off with a smack. The raid team members are actually NPCs and Ju-hyuk gains evil points. Another person appears and claims to make Ju-hyuk his servant. The hooded person brings out Rupendal, who seeks revenge on Ju-hyuk. Rupendal claims that Ju-hyuk will be dead soon. The hooded person then uses the nearby NPC corpses as her undead army. The undead commander is confident now that he will defeat Ju-hyuk. Just then, the system informs Ju-hyuk that he has control over all kinds of black magic products. The necromancer gets flustered as Ju-hyuk gains control over her undead. Ju-hyuk tells the undead NPCs to die and shifts his attention to Rupendal. Rupendal tries to resist Ju-hyuk's order, but he gets punished. Rupendal did as Ju-hyuk said. The necromancer apologizes as she gets flustered. She asks if she can leave and Ju-hyuk permits her to do so. Rupendal suddenly warms up to Ju-hyuk and swears not to betray him. Ju-hyuk is happy that he got a new pet. Meanwhile, a woman complains that Ju-hyuk is too overpowering. She thinks Ju-hyuk is the person that her master told her to support. She calls herself an idiot for running away instead of sticking to Ju-hyuk. She remembers that she has a meeting and quickly leaves. Ju-hyuk tells Johan to quickly explain before they get interrupted again. The Salmak group has a lot of high-ranking assassins and connections to nobles. Including the gold amassed, Johan pledges his group to Ju-hyuk. Ju-hyuk receives Salmak and $600 million in gold. He continues acting benevolent enough to make Johan cry. As Ju-hyuk celebrates, Johan warns him about Lexer, the third elder. He is also an assassin who doesn't think twice. He is also the owner of the second assassin group, Abyss Troop. A notification comes saying that 2 more constellations have appeared. Stia suddenly whispers and talks about her friend, Sasong, who is obviously familiar. Stia and Sasong talk about the latter's phobia of guys. Sasong claims she doesn't have that kind of phobia. Sia asks how she's been lately and Sasong tells her something. The two later go their separate ways and Sia can't believe she just heard something ridiculous. She needs to contact her brother. After the whisper, Sia ran back home. She heard from Sasong that the absolute evil will fight the 7 constellations alone. However, there are classes that need to support the absolute evil, including Saesong, who is an absolute necromancer. Ju-hyuk wonders why she told him. Sia states that she knows that he is the absolute evil. Ju-hyuk tries to play dumb, but Sia starts firing off facts about her brother lately. She also realized that it was him after she became a constellation. Sia claims they will be in trouble if people find out about the two of them. Sia tells her brother to meet Saesong. However, he must wear a mask to avoid attention. The three meet up, and the two absolutes easily recognize each other. Saesong has been embarrassed by role-playing before. Saesong wonders how Ju-hyuk and Sia are related. They confess their roles and relationships, leaving Saesong dumbfounded. She gets mad at Sia for keeping it a secret. She is only focused on dressing up in front of her favorite sister's brother. She tries to act cutely, but Ju-hyuk is into older women. Ju-hyuk then reminds Saesong about something, and the girl presents her master's will. It is a map, and Ju-hyuk realizes something. It is the same as the map Ju-hyuk's master gave him. It also contains the mark of the sky's destruction. He can't believe that he has supporters. Their classes are meant to help the absolute evil. Ju-hyuk is happy to get a lackey. Ju-hyuk claims Saesong to his side. He then tells her to level up a bit. Days later, the group hunts monsters. A familiar undead levels up and now serves as Ju-hyuk's loot collector. The great Rupendal is now a mere item collector. Ju-hyuk finds Saesong clumsy, but she has the ability to cover for it. She lets her undead go hunting for her. The undead are the best army Ju-hyuk can ask for. Saesong just needs to reach level 20 to learn sky destruction. He knows his master's quest is impossible to complete alone. He is lucky that Sia found Saesong. Ju-hyuk gets surprised as a cute level 20 Saesong hugs him. Ju-hyuk tells them their next destination, and they split into two groups. Meanwhile, the Union notices Chaos players approaching. Ibe, the Warp Gate Overseer, confronts Ju-hyuk and Rupendal. Ibe recognizes Rupendal and claims that he picked up a pet. Ibe sees Ju-hyuk's level and mocks him. Rupendal gets flustered. Ibe then tells them that the regular fare rate doesn't apply to Chaos players and asks for 30 million. While Rupendal is complaining, Ibe whispers to Ju-hyuk and offers to help him. Ju-hyuk smirks and acts like he is being treated as a slave by Rupendal. Sia and Saesong arrive the Kargonis Mountains first. Saesong panics because she can't understand the map. Ibe is a team leader in the Union. He only got to work on the Warp Portal Management team because of his aunt. Ibe looks down on Ju-hyuk, who is acting poorly. Ju-hyuk whispers to Rupendal that Ibe is planning to backstab them. The two start acting and pay the fare. They arrive at the Kargonis Mountains and leave the safe zone. Someone whispers to Ju-hyuk to attack, and the two start acting again. Ju-hyuk sets the damage of his punch to 0, and Rupendal is glad that there was no damage at all. Seeing Rupendal getting busy, the Union members were surprised and attacked him. Ibe appears and attacks Ju-hyuk, thinking that he can loot him. However, the attack didn't scratch Ju-hyuk a bit. Ju-hyuk counterattacks, and Ibe is surprised that there was no damage. Ju-hyuk forgot to change the settings. The Union members get flustered as Rupendal kills them one by one. He thanks Ju-hyuk for the buffs and discovers Ibe is still alive. Ju-hyuk can't kill him because there will be no drops. Ibe gets flustered and offers to give back the money he extorted from them. Ju-hyuk orders Rupendal to rip off as much as he can from Ibe. Rupendal does his best to be menacing, and Ibe offers 130 million. They got the money and Ibe quickly leaves. However, Ju-hyuk wants justice and Rupendal goes for Ibe. Rupendal instantly kills Ibe and now fully respects Ju-hyuk. An item drops and Ibe offers 1 billion for it. Rupendal refuses and gives the bag to Ju-hyuk. They check what is inside and get surprised. Ju-hyuk can't believe Ibe is in possession of it. Anyway, they got a bunch of unique items and millions of gold. Ju-hyuk gives Rupendal his bonus and leaves. Ju-hyuk finally meets up with Sia and Saesong. Saesong heard that there is a strong monster nearby that has killed numerous famous NPCs already. A party of level 50 players also wiped out. After 3 days, the girls are leveling up steadily while Ju-hyuk is giving them buffs. Meanwhile, Saesong's undead army keeps increasing in size. Based on the map, they finally arrive at their destination. Just then, a monstrous bird attacks them. It grabs and lifts Ju-hyuk. Ju-hyuk gets offended and punches the bird. The bird tries to get away, but Ju-hyuk gets a hold of it. Ju-hyuk beats down while the girls watch him. He uses a tamer's ring he got from Ibe's drops. He succeeds in taming Carrier. While registering his new pet, Ju-hyuk is surprised to see that it is an S-class pet. He registers the Carrier as Bok-Bok. Thanks to Bok-Bok, they can now travel by flying. While looking for an entrance mark on the map, Ju-hyuk orders Bok-Bok to fly at full speed to the location he points at. Using the speed, Ju-hyuk punches a part of the mountain, but the system tells them that the requirements have not yet been met. They need 200 living monsters as sacrifices in under 5 minutes. Ju-hyuk gets anxious that the entrance will be sealed. Just then, he realizes something. He asks the girls if Se-song's undead army is over 200 strong. However, Se-song feels bad about sacrificing her kids. Ju-hyuk tells her not to sympathize with them, and Sia just witnessed the first time she saw Se-song pout. Ju-hyuk reminds her that this is their first step toward being above others. Se-song hesitates. Ju-hyuk knows there is a side effect of her job class, and he reminds her once again about their goal. Se-song complies, and she sacrifices her 200 undead. She screams in pain as a side effect, and Ju-hyuk does his best to heal her. The system recognizes Se-song's decision and grants her a stat increase and rewards. The group later gets inside the underground cave, and they discover it is the inheritance of Kelt. Kelt is Ju-hyuk's master. The system checks for requirements. The absolute evil must defeat the 7 constellations or get strong helpers. The 3 helpers must give their consent or Ju-hyuk's account will be deleted. Ju-hyuk just realized that the 20 years of training are meant for this and he can't escape it. Sia, Se-song, and the pet give their consent. The trial gate opens and the group enters with confirmation. Meanwhile, Ivy or Byung-gun in real life, it's a warning from his higher-ups. He just found out that Ju-hyuk was a Ramtadian. Ivy has already posted a subjugation quest to hunt down Ju-hyuk. Just then, someone calls him and claims to have become a constellation. Kang Moo-suk squeers to avenge Ivy. Ju-hyuk enters the trials and notices that he is alone. He immediately faces a giant crow and defeats it in an instant. Remembers fighting it as a child. Kelt really plans to make Ju-hyuk the ultimate embodiment of evil. He levels up and reaches level 50. Meanwhile, Sia levels up and her magic spells rank also increases. Marina also leveled up and got more undead for her army. She feels happy seeing her undead evolve. Bok Bok, on the other hand, enjoys feasting on the bluestone drops. All of them clear the gate trials at the same time to meet up again. They all gain 10 levels. The system announces the start of the main gate trials. Ju-hyuk tries to warn them to be careful, but Kelt's voice interrupts him. Kelt congratulates him for being the absolute evil. They get surprised by Kelt's hologram. He keeps rambling about his teachings. He then asks Ju-hyuk to lead the Sky Devils to prosperity. The main quest suddenly is updated. The scale gets higher and Ju-hyuk needs to create the world of the Sky Devil. Kelt also mentions someone who can control the dead and who will help him. Kelt's hologram fades away as he says goodbye. The quest is to find the absolute necromancer. But wait, Se-song is the absolute necromancer. They surprisingly complete the Kelt's legacy. Ju-hyuk is glad that he met Se-song early on. Ju-hyuk receives nice rewards related to his evilness. Sia freaks out seeing a red and Ju-hyuk tells her to keep it. Meanwhile, Se-song receives unlimited mana as a skill. Sia congratulates her and invites her for a meal in reality to celebrate. Ju-hyuk can't believe Se-song received a cheat skill. Just then, Bok Bok evolves as a reward. Ju-hyuk uses his evil points to strengthen the skill Destruction. Destruction turns into true destruction, and it activates its effects. Outside the cave, Ibe looks for Ju-hyuk. The first constellation Moo-seok accompanies Ibe for his revenge. They also brought in an army of players. Just then, they notice an ominous portal on a cliffside. Ju-hyuk's group comes out of it, and everyone immediately recognizes the evilness coming from Ju-hyuk. Please read the pinned comment about the next part.